Just a few things to highlight from our non-conference play. First and foremost, a shout out to Izzy McCormick and Heroline de los Santos Lugo, who were both named to our all-tournament team last week in Green Bay after two stellar performances over the weekend. And then two of our seniors, Maddie Horniak and Elizabeth Norris, continue to climb up the record books for UND. Elizabeth actually climbed this weekend. She's now 4th in the Division I era in career assists, and Maddie Horniak is 5th in the Division I era in career aces as well. So some great performances from them as they continue to climb up those rankings there. But just a total team performance as we continue to have multiple people shine in different roles for us playing over the course of non-conference play. And so we're excited to get going with conference and excited to start battling against people that we know a little bit better and just to start pursuing our Summit League tournament bid in that way. So, yeah, really excited to get going.
Questions for Coach?
Coach, what have you taken away from the rest of the Summit and their non-conference performances? How is it shaping up to look in terms of the race? The Summit right now?
Yeah, really exciting. I think we've seen that everybody this year is better than they were a year ago with a few minor exceptions. But South Dakota, as always, has challenged themselves in their non-conference play and came away with some big wins over Missouri and Iowa State. We've seen South Dakota State go 11-0 in non-conference play, a slightly lighter schedule in terms of the quality of their competitors. But to be able to go out and be 11-0 and to take care of all those matches is really impressive, especially with the turnover they had with their roster. St. Thomas is having the best year that they've ever had in the Division I era, and we know that Denver's always going to be good, and when Hinsey's playing for NDSU, they're always going to be a threat, and Trinity Freeman at Oral Roberts is always going to be a threat, and so we know that we're going to have a lot of really tough matches this year. But it just makes us more excited because we like to play really good volleyball against really good teams, and so we can't wait to go and compete against them.
That transition from non-con to conference play, is there anything that the Summit, maybe it's the last couple of years or this year in particular, is known for in terms of stylistically? You know, in football, you get to Missouri Valley football conference play and it's running the football. You know, is there a Summit volleyball equivalent?
Yeah, you know, I think from my time at Denver and my time here at North Dakota, we've studied the conference a lot, and one of the things that we found consistently over the last decade is that the Summit League is a very strong defensive conference. You've got teams like South Dakota that are traditionally in the top 10 to top 25 in the country in digs per set, but across the board, we found that if you're able to score offensively in the Summit League, you actually score even better in the NCAA tournament because the quality of the floor defense and the block defense in the conference is really, really strong. We've also seen over the last few years that the quality of the serve and pass game in the conference has really elevated as well. And so it's exciting for us knowing that we've seen that we've had an edge in the serve and pass game in almost every single match that we've played thus far this year. And I'm excited to see how that translates in conference where we know everybody's going to be really good at that phase.
How do you feel about your defense right now? You know, some of the things you mentioned earlier, we're talking about a couple defensive players there. Where do you guys stand right now?
Yeah, really, really exciting because we can produce in a lot of different ways. We're going to serve you off the net. We're going to get a lot of aces, but we're also going to serve you off the net, which is going to make it really hard for offenses to be in system and to score. And then we've got a really quality block where we've got 6 different people at the net that can really slow you down and score points there. And that means that you're going to have to be less aggressive when you make your attack choices. And then we've got people in the back row that are eating it up right now. And so in all 3 phases of the defensive side of the game, we're able to put a lot of pressure on our opponents, and we've seen that impact everybody. I mean, we've had, I think, 3 or 4 different teams that we've held to below 100 points in their hitting efficiency on the year, and we've had double-digit blocks in a majority of our matches, and we are crushing it from the service line with aces. And so not only knowing that we're going to hold you to low efficiency, but we're going to be able to do it in multiple different ways makes it really hard to game plan against us.
Do you want your players and their processes to feel any different as you change from non-con to conference play here? Or, you know, what do you sense from that end of the thing? Is it just the schedule changes, so the schedule changes? Or do you see things you can put your finger on that are different now?
Yeah, I think for us, we wanted to schedule in a way where every weekend felt like we were playing one of the top teams in our conference. And so we really tried to challenge ourselves in that way. And so as we look ahead at conference play and the success that we've had thus far, if we want to keep having that success, we've got to keep doing the things that have led to that success. So our processes and our tactics and our strategies, they're not really changing, but it's more about can we continue to refine what we're doing and pound the rock in those different phases.
Coach, you guys are getting ready for this, conference schedule. What's the biggest takeaway you've seen from this team from, preseason to where you guys are at now?
Yeah, I think for us, it's the ability for anybody to perform at a really high level at any given moment. And we've seen different people go off in different matches offensively. We've seen different people being really dominant defensively in different phases. And so knowing that anybody has the ability to do that at any given time makes it really hard to game plan against us. And then if you couple that with the fact that people are starting to do those things more consistently, have those high-level performances more consistently, once we've got all people firing on at their highest level all the time, it's going to be really, really tough to play us, which we're excited about.
And despite the loss to Minnesota, what was the biggest takeaways that you took from a game against a high-ranked opponent?
Yeah, Minnesota is probably one of the best serving teams in the country, and they've got a huge block, and they've got really powerful attackers. And so for us, obviously we're not satisfied with the result, but we were able to play with them for the first third of every single set that we were in. And so seeing that what we're doing and the way that we're playing is good enough to compete with a top 20 team in the country was really positive for us. Now, the ability to sustain that over time and to battle back and punch back when you get punched yourself, that's something that we can continue to grow. But to start off with the two teams that were in the last year's Summit League Championship is a great opportunity for us to continue to get better at that.
And what's the biggest thing you want to see from your team, as you guys hit the road for this conference slate?
I think for us, it's just continuing to do the things that have allowed us to be great. It's going to get, as we get deeper into the year, the weather is going to change. We're going to have a harder academic load as more midterms and exams and papers come up. And so continuing to do the things that have allowed us to be successful at a really high level, both on and off the court, is going to be huge.
What changes as the schedule changes from non-con to conference play here? Do you feel any different?
I don't think we feel much different. Obviously, we're going to places that we've been before, so there's a little bit of comfort there. I know exactly what I'm going to get when I walk into Omaha's gym, Kansas City's gym, versus places that we haven't been to before. But I think nothing big changes. It's just we're going in, we're playing volleyball, we're trying to get better at our skills every day.
What are you guys doing well right now? What are you happy with? What element of your guys' game?
I'm very happy with our start. As Coach said, we've been able to start strong in the majority of our sets and our matches, and we've also been talking a lot about finishing strong, and I think that that's something that we were able to do this weekend against Green Bay especially. Just keeping that level of consistency throughout the match is something that we've worked really hard on, and I think will help us coming into conference play.
Was that kind of your biggest takeaway from the Gophers matchup, or what do you think how you guys performed there?
I think we learned a lot from that match. Yes, we started out really strong, which was great, and then finding the ability to stay consistent throughout the match will be helpful for us. I think another thing against Minnesota that we could learn from is just the ability to have different shots. Obviously, they're a little bit bigger than the blockers that we've faced in previous matchups, and our ability to just be able to find different shots around the block and play almost a little bit of a different style of volleyball than what we're used to playing will allow us to grow even more.
How does it feel climbing up the record books there for UND?
Honestly, I had no idea until Coach told me on our bus ride home the other day, but it feels good. I'm really grateful to my team to be able to be around me while this happens. Obviously, I can't get any numbers without a pass before me and a kill after me, but it's pretty cool.
And one thing we talked about in the preseason was, that goal of winning the Summit League. How important is it to start on the right foot, with these two games against two opponents that were in the championship game last year?
It's very important. I think going out there and just playing the volleyball that we know how to play is what'll take us there. Obviously, it's a long conference season, and we are going to play everyone twice, at least, maybe a third time if we make it to the Summit League tournament. But I think just knowing that it's going to be a long conference season, but starting off strong always helps. And
final question I have for you is, obviously you have a lot of players that can, get kills for you, coming off your passes. How important is it to have, it's not just on the left side or right side, but anywhere in between to keep a defense honest? I think it's great. One thing that really sets our team apart from a lot of teams in the conference and just throughout the country is we don't necessarily have just one hitter that's going to be terminal for us. We have multiple hitters at any given moment. It makes my job as a setter pretty fun that I'm going to set
everyone and anyone, people are going to have to read me and guess where I'm going. And knowing that I've got hitters on the other end of that at the end of the day, like, I can set anyone, they're going to get a kill. It feels really good for me.